Welcome to SNN Live. We're broadcasting live from our studios in Los Angeles, California. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and today on the program we have Chris Miglino from SRAX, publicly traded company with the symbol SRAX. Chris, welcome back to SNN Live.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you as always. So, for our audience, let's start off with an overview of the company, and then we'll go from there.
Great. So SRAX is in the business of building specific types of data sets around vertical markets. So we create vertical data sets around the pharmaceutical industry, around the consumer packaged good industry, the automotive, and the sports industry. We use this data in order to market out to specific types of consumers or doctors or auto buyers or CPG buyers, consumer packaged goods buyers. So we're constantly building data sets that are helping marketers be more effective in reaching specific people or specific industries. Mm-hmm.
So it has been a few months since we had you on the program. Yes. Let's get an update. What's going on in the business?
So some really exciting stuff. We have two big initiatives that are happening right now that we've announced out to the public. The first was that we are exploring options for our SRAX MD business because the business is growing very quickly, and we think there's an opportunity in the marketplace to benefit from either taking that company public on its own or selling it out to a strategic partner. So we've hired some bankers that are helping us in that process to explore something with our SRAX MD business. At the same time, we're working on a bunch of blockchain technology for our data sets. So one thing that we're really good at is building a lot of data around specific verticals. So if you're a pharmaceutical company and you want to reach every doctor that's written a script for a particular type of cancer, we have the ability to reach that doctor on their cell phone, on their home computers, and we tie it all together. Now, over the last year, we've been thinking, what if we turn that model upside down? Like within the ad business, the way it works now is people that are called DSPs, demand-side partners, buy data from people like Oracle and Experian and Equifax and people like that, and then they serve ads up to specific consumers. Mm-hmm. Same way that the direct mail business has worked in the past, where they would buy data from, and still do, buy data from Experian and all these people, and then send direct mail to your home with your information. So the blockchain is providing an opportunity to completely decentralize this business, to turn it upside down and create a new model. So what we've created is something called the Blockchain Identification Graph. It's a tool that is going to let consumers own their own data. Mm-hmm. So the acronym is BIG, and we're creating our own cryptocurrency called the BIG token. Mm-hmm. And consumers will sign up and be able to earn BIG token based on the amount of information that marketers are buying from them individually. Mm-hmm. So if a marketer wants to access your information, they're not going to be paying the big boys for your data. They're going to be paying you directly for that information. And they'll be doing that in a cryptocurrency called Big Token. Mm-hmm. Big tokens will then be issued and can be exchanged for cash or for other cryptocurrencies. Now, the buyers of that data, the people that are buying that information, will buy it in cash, which will automatically be converted into big tokens as well, thus creating a market for the tokens. Mm-hmm. So that's a really big initiative for us, and we think is a game changer in the way that data is going to be sold and bought in the marketplace, and creating what could be a universal basic income for the consumer. Mm-hmm. So the consumer has a value that they didn't have before, something that they can hang their hat on and say, look, if somebody wants to access my information on a monthly basis, I can earn a certain amount of money for them accessing that data. Now, we're building the core underlying infrastructure of that platform, so advertising is only one component of that. Ultimately, we envision there's credit, there's mortgage data, there's insurance data, there is medical data that's living on top of this entire ecosystem. And companies will be attempting to access our platform in order to write applications on top of, and our system would be the underlying currency for that.
Right. Okay, so I want to take a step back.
Okay.
Because blockchain technology, there's some that, it's still all right, I know I've heard the phrase, I know it's out there, it's a trend, so maybe give a little bit of background on the technology itself and how you saw this marriage coming together.
So blockchain provides the opportunity for a lot of businesses to be disintermediated. I mean, if you look at what's going on inside the banking industry right now and all of the different ICOs that have happened, the initial coin offerings that have happened, there's been $3 billion plus that will be raised this year. And that means $3 billion without, proper banking, without the business as we know it as public companies, that is not existing, right? So the blockchain provides an opportunity for the decentralization of any industry. So you can take a insurance company and put it out on the blockchain, and that company is being supported by the entire community of people that are investing, and then being paid out. All of the different claims that might be being paid are being paid out by the community itself. Now that completely changes the dynamic of the insurance business. Same thing for banking, right? Right now you have companies that are creating credit cards that are going to live on top of the blockchain. So instead of a bank in the middle, you have a community of people that are supporting a particular type of card. And it's decentralized from any single bank in the middle, and everybody that's involved in the process is making money. So you have to think about blockchain as the opportunity to decentralize any business that's out there. And it's hard for people to understand that, especially in the public markets, because everybody views things as, well, what do I own? How much do I get? So you have to envision it like, what's the value of completely disrupting my business as it stands, right? Can an Uber exist where the consumer is calling a car directly from the car, where there's no Uber in the middle? Is there an Airbnb that exists that is renting directly from the person that's renting the apartment or the house without an Airbnb in the middle? There's so many opportunities for this kind of stuff to happen. It's like the same mentality that existed when the internet started is what's happening today. The internet is, when the internet started, the excitement was robust and everybody was trying to come up with new ideas about how this stuff was happening. Within the blockchain space now, you're getting that same type of enthusiasm, and the companies are, coming out as fast as you can even think. I mean, they're just coming day after day.
So then what's going to be the SRAX business model around Big Token? How will you guys make money?
So when we're going to be doing what's called an initial coin offering. So an initial coin offering is issuing a certain amount of tokens out into the marketplace. And we will then be the largest holder of that token after the initial coin offering happens. So we'll own a certain number of coins. We will also make fees for different apps that we're going to build on the platform. So we'll make fees off of helping companies tie into the open source platform that's there. So let's say that you are a person with a very large loyalty program and you want to find out more information about your consumers, but you want them to validate it. You don't want to pay Experian to get access to that information. So you then are asking your consumers for data about themselves, and you're paying them for that data. Our system will tie them together. We'll make fees for helping them get tied to that platform. And the more people like that come into the platform, the more value our tokens will have. So over time, we envision the value of those tokens going up. And we'll make small fees for executing certain types of transactions, but nothing compared to the type of data, the fees and margins that are being charged now by these big companies that are selling data.
Right. So then also, what's the consumer experience like? I have to, for instance, download an app, and then I get all these notifications. Like I have to turn off. I don't want my information going here or there.
So the way it works is the second you opt into the platform, you're available to everybody. You will see who's buying your data. You'll see who's accessing your information, and you'll see how much money you've earned for access to that information. If you see something you don't like, you can then turn that off. So you can say, look, I don't like this person, I don't like this company, you can turn them off. We have an app that will allow you to see what's being earned at any given time. That app will also track all of your location data, so that all of your location data is being sent to your to your profile, and then if people want to access, people that have been in certain areas, they'll be able to access that information. We'll store a lot of different data about your cookies and pass that information back to our server-side information, and then make that available for the public or for the companies to buy as well.
So what's like a typical price then? Let's say Experian wanted to buy my data for a certain project that they have coming up. How much would I get?
So in the market, $130 billion a year is used just to access marketing data. Okay, so $130 billion in access to customer information. It's a lot of money. That doesn't even include anything for insurance, medical, credit, anything like that. That's purely from an advertising perspective. So you as a consumer, it really depends on what your demographics are like, where you're from, what you're doing, where you visit. So it's gonna range all over the board, but it'll be enough to get people to incentivize the people to actually take the activity. And the reason that we're launching the cryptocurrency around this as well is because the value of having a cryptocurrency. So people have seen the value of something like a Bitcoin that has gone up in significant value. So people would say, okay, well, I might get $100 for sharing my information, but my information at $100 might be worth $1,000 over time, right? So there's the opportunity that if you're early on in the process and you share your information early, that your value of what you're getting is going to increase over time as more companies are accessing the system.
So, Chris, I also wanted to ask you a little bit more about some of the recent news that the company has put out. Can you elaborate on some of these topics?
Yeah. So, I think there's two pretty notable things. First, the fact that we're exploring strategic options for our pharmaceutical business. That business has been growing very quickly, although we haven't broken out the size of that business. We've announced the growth of that business year over year, and it's substantially growing. And so we think it's a good time to explore the opportunity of either taking that business and selling it to a strategic investor in the pharmaceutical space, or taking it and spinning it off into its own public entity. One of those things. So we've hired some bankers that are doing that, and so we're in the process of making that happen right now. The second thing is as of just a few days ago, we raised another $5 million for the company from existing investors in the company. So people that have been long-term investors in the company have upped again to invest into the company. So we're excited about that, and that puts us in a much better financial position and kind of takes us into the time frame of us, doing our ICO and not having to do any additional financing, and as we get into the ICO space.
Another question I wanted to ask you regarding the ICO and Big Token. Did you bring in any strategic team members that had some experience with this to help lead the charge?
We did. So a couple of our investors have been long-term people in the Bitcoin space and have made an abundance of money in that space and have done really well. And they were really the driving force for helping us even think about getting into the space. And so we've spent a lot of time with a few different advisors that we've brought on board to help us go through the idea. And where we are today with Big Token is nowhere where it started. At first, we had a much different idea about what the blockchain might be able to do. And as we became much more knowledgeable about the blockchain itself, it morphed and changed the idea, and till the point where we got the idea for Big Token. Now we think is the ability for consumers to own their own data and get paid for people accessing their data is something that everybody understands, and everybody that we talk to about it says that's a great idea. And if I'm a consumer and somebody wants to access my information, I want to be paid for that, right? So that's those advisors that we've brought on board have helped us formulate the idea to get it to where it is today.
Chris, another question I had regarding the upcoming ICO and Big Token is marketing. How are you going to reach consumers?
So we're starting out with the cryptocurrency community because they understand the value of owning a token early. and they understand that having access to that token could ultimately increase the value over time. So they'll be our first marketing push, and to get those people to sign up, then we'll invite them to invite their friends and their family members to join into the platform. And then above that, we are a consumer marketing company. That's what we do. Like, we've been in this business for a really long time, and we help other people market their products. So not only will we be able to buy media very inexpensively, because we won't have to pay the margins that other people are going to have to pay to access the community, but we understand how to measure the performance indicators that are driving people to sign up. So that's what we're good at.
And where can our audience go and find more information about SRAX?
They can go to SRAX.com, and they can also go, if they want to find information about the Big Token, they could go to bigtoken.com as well.
And that's SRAX.com. My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on this SNN Live, and we're coming to you live from our studio in Los Angeles, California. With me again is Chris Miglino from SRAX, publicly traded company with the symbol SRAX. Chris, thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks for having me again. Thank you.